Do, do, do. What's going on, guys? This is the Mandalorian open spoiler discussion. We do it every single, Saturday or Sunday, depending on when we can get it in. So the newest episode, Mandalorian episode 15. It's season 2, episode 7, chapter 15, I should say. And we're going to talk all spoilers on that. And here I have my usual guest. I got Jake here with me. So what's up, Jake? How's it going, man?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. So yeah, guys, we're going to be talking again, like always, open spoilers. Please make sure you guys comment during the show. We want to get your guys' feedback while we're talking this stuff. And of course, make sure that you like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Anything you can do to help build, the channel and get things built up. And then you guys can comment below in the comment sections on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. Just comment, and you can comment live. And obviously, of course, as I always say, you can comment via the tip link as well, streamlabs.com/movieidiot. When you comment via the tip link, of course, you're supporting the channel. And then at some point, maybe I can help pay my guests like Jake to be on the show. So that's what we're trying to get, pay them for their time. So comment via the tip link, and we appreciate that. So we're going to jump right into this, Jake. All right, so the name of this episode, I took notes this week, so I'm very excited because I'm not going to screw up as much, hopefully. So the name of the episode is The Believer. Your writer and director was Rick Famuyiwa. So, and I think he did one last season, correct? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, this one starts off pretty much right where the last one started off. So it starts off in a scrapyard, and you see prisoner number 34667. I know that because they said it like 15 times when we literally kept saying the robot, the droid kept going, prisoner 34627 or 64. Let me try again, 34667. So anyway, it starts off in the scrapyard. He's dismantling like broken ships. You see a lot of like old TIE fighters and things like that laying around, and he's obviously a prisoner. So and that is, of course, our guy from last season, Mr. Mayfeld, is the prisoner that's there. And the droid informs him that he's being released into the custody of Cara Dune. So Cara picks him up out of the scrapyard. Initially, he's like, where are we going? And she's like, look, I got a job for you. Follow me. They head over to the ship. And then you see Boba step off the ship. And I love this because Boba has the brand new paint job. So apparently he's got fresh paint on the slave one where he can spruce up the suit. So before we go any farther than that, what did you think about Boba's fresh paint job?
Look great. His ship's the same color, so I feel like maybe he's got some ship paint.
Yeah. Oh, that's possible. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
That's touch-up paint.
Yeah.
In the cargo hold.
I love the matte finish. I thought that was awesome. It looked really good, man. Yeah, I agree.
It looked great.
So Boba's got the new paint job, and then Mayfeld's like, well, why do you guys need me? And basically they say, well, you are familiar with, you're an Imperial. And he's like, well, I'm not anymore. And they're like, well, no, you know Imperial protocols, and that's what we need you for. So they needed him to get the coordinates for Gideon's ship. That's what they're looking for. So Mayfeld, so they get on the ship and they start flying away, and Mayfeld explains that they need to get to a terminal which is on Morak. Morag or Morak? I couldn't quite tell. Yeah, I'm going to go with Morak. But it's on Morak, and that planet is a Rhydonium mine, and it's basically this like small little remnant base that they have on Morak where they mine Rhydonium, which apparently Rhydonium is extremely volatile. So, on the ship, they're flying. I love how Mando is already referring to Boba Fett as just Fett and kind of bossing him around a little bit. He's like, Fett, take us there. Here are the coordinates, So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then they start talking about, what they're going to do and how they're going to do this. And apparently the bases are run by ISB, which, if people don't know, ISB is kind of like a secret service for the Empire, more or less. So when they're talking about the plan, when they get on Morak and what they're going to do, they're talking about how they're not going to send Mayfeld alone because they don't trust him. So that somebody has to go with. Fennec can't go because she's wanted by ISB. Obviously, Cara Dune can't go because she's a former shock trooper. And Boba Fett, I love it. Boba Fett's like, and they may recognize my face. So that was a good joke there. Just talk about, again, if you guys aren't familiar with that, because Boba Fett's father, Jango Fett, is the basically Boba Fett's a clone of him, and then all of the other clones obviously are a clone of him as well. So they would definitely know his face. So finally, Mando says, look, I'm going to go. And Mayfeld's like, well, you can't go because you're not going to show your face. In which Mando gets the idea of hijacking the Juggernaut tanks. So those are those big tanks that are transporting Rhydonium from the mines to the refinery. So they finally they jump on this tank. It's going through a tunnel. Cara Dune knocks out the drivers, and then they grab the suits. I love how Mayfeld's like, dude, this suit's like all stinky and wet and stuff as he's putting it on.
Hey,
So
the gloves are still wet.
yeah. So I thought that was cool. Or funny anyway. And then as soon as they see Mando walking out, they both start making fun of him. So Mayfeld makes some joke about it, and then Cara's like, I'd love to say you look good, but so I thought that was pretty funny. A lot of sly humor early on. So at this point, all right, they're getting ready to get on this thing, and they're obviously going to ride this tank into the refinery to get to the terminal. I got to tell you, so before I go any further, a couple of things. When I first saw that this episode was 37 minutes long, I was like, fuck. Because I was pissed. I'm like, this is the second to last episode. What the hell, dude? Like, come on, man. This should be like an hour-long episode. I wanted something huge. And up to that point where they're getting on the tank, I didn't really like this episode that much. So I was not really enjoying this whole thing yet. So that's just kind of my thing. What were your thoughts up to that point? How did you feel?
I liked it. I liked especially like when Boba came down the ramp with Slave One, and Bill Burr, Mayfeld was like, "Oh man, I thought you were someone else."
Yes, yeah. And
then Mando comes on. He's like,
true, and that was a good line. That was a good. And what I will say is Bill Burr was amazing in this episode.
Yeah, he was great.
Absolutely amazing. And we'll get to some more of that later. But so they get on the Juggernaut. They start making their way down. They're making their way through the village. And then they're talking about on the way how they can't go too fast because it'll blow the Rhydonium, which is, again, very volatile. So they have to take it at like a slow, steady speed. As they're driving through the village, Mayfeld starts making it a point to talk about how Empire and Republic, it's all the same to these people. We're just invaders on their land. So I thought, he was definitely... At first, I was like, oh, that's just a throwaway line. But it seems like it ties in a little bit later. But he made it a point to point that out.
I feel like that's an overall... that's a overall comment on the entirety of Star Wars.
True. Yeah. And it's a good point. And there's a lot of... in this episode especially, it really does show a couple of different sides of a coin,
Definitely, because I think that's what they felt about the Jedi, too. It's like,
yeah,
doesn't matter to us who's in charge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. So, all right, so then he also was talking to Mando, and he's talking about how Mandalorians and Alderaan and how they're, Mandalore and Alderaan are no longer a thing, and those are gone, and how he's like, look, when you get desperate, your rules change. So he's talking about, like the helmet thing, and he's like, is it you can't take off your helmet or you can't show your face? What is it, So obviously your rules can change as you get desperate, which comes into play a little bit later. And just as that's all happening, that's when the pirates attack. And I got to tell you again, so I thought the pirates were really stupid, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, these guys with sticks, they're flying up to the thing, and then all of a sudden, all they have are thermal detonators and sticks. So they go from one extreme to the other in their arsenal, right? I don't know. I didn't really think they were great. Whatever. It was action packed for sure. So, but I thought that was kind of weird how they had sticks and thermal detonators. That was it. That's all they got. But anyway, the pirate gliders, so they're on these gliders, which I thought kind of looked similar to the gliders in Return of the Jedi.
The skiffs.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then so Mando's firing at him, and Mayfeld's yelling at him because he's like, "Don't fire next to the Rhydonium," you know. So he gets up on top and he's starting to shoot the pirates, and his gun just stops working. So he chucks the gun at him, and then he has to fight them all hand to hand. So again, like, how convenient that their two weapons are, you know, sticks, so he can fight them hand to hand, or thermal detonators. I don't know. I really didn't like that part. Maybe I'm being too nitpicky. I don't know.
I liked it because I feel like they're clearly, this is a poor planet, as by driving through the village.
Yeah.
It reminded me like in the movies when like you go into like the African village, and like they have nothing, and then all of a sudden like they'll have C4, like to blow something. You're like, all right, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess, and who knows? Maybe they just, you know, ran across like a pile of thermal detonators, so that's all they had are these skiffs.
Yeah, like they stole them from the Imperials. Yes. That's what they happen to get.
It's possible I'm being a little nitpicky. My initial thoughts were just like, really, dude? Like thermal detonators and sticks? That's all we're gonna do? But maybe I'm being a little too. Yeah, it's possible I'm being a little too nitpicky on that. So all right. As Mando is fighting off the guys, the pirates, they keep having to slow down and speed up because the Rhydonium levels keep, you know, going up. So they're dealing with that. And then hold on here. Oh yeah, so one thing I noticed too is the trooper armor as he's fighting them. It's obviously way weaker than his normal Mandalorian.
Oh, that was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, it's just like falling apart, right, as he's fighting. Yeah. So I definitely noticed that. And then I love how he picks up. So finally, he's fighting off all the pirates, and he gets down to like the last ones, and they get the detonator on the thing, and they all, you know, fall off or get kicked off or whatever, or jump off. And then he just picks up the thermal detonator and chucks it at him, and it blows up and launches him back and blows all that up. But it's like, it's funny how they didn't know the timing. You know, like they couldn't keep him, like he knew exactly how much time he had to chuck it at him before it blew up.
Nobody's ever known the time of thermal detonators. I mean, that's like Return of the Jedi where they turn it on. I'm like, well, how long does this thing have?
Yeah, I mean, are they like grenades where they have a 10-second fuse, or is it like just random and you don't know?
I feel like they're supposed to be grenades, but I mean, I guess you could set the timers maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, he had just enough time to get rid of it, and it still blew him back, and he fell down, but... You know, but he made it through. And then just as you think, okay, they're good to go, and the smoke clears, there's like 3 more skiffs of pirates right behind them, and then all of them are firing up thermal detonators, getting ready to come after him again. And that's when it happens. The TIE fighters come flying down, blow up all the skiffs. The troopers then take out the rest of the pirates. And here's where I think the episode starts getting really good in my eyes. So... you see the troopers take out the pirates, and Mayfeld says the line, he's like, I bet you never thought you'd be so happy to see stormtroopers, you know. And then they get into the facility, and they're like being cheered and celebrated like these big heroes. And I can't remember a time in Star Wars, in shows or movies, where you see the side of the stormtroopers, like, you know, where they're celebrating a victory like that. It humanized them. I wrote down here, humanized stormtroopers, because other than like in Force Awakens where Finn changes over, there's no humanization of stormtroopers. They're just idiots, you know, most of the time.
It's like, no, you never think, like, they're just regular dudes.
Yeah, they're just regular guys. They're just there fighting in a war. They're being hired by somebody, and
yeah, you always see the big bad guys like, you know, Grand Admiral or like Moff Gideon and Tarkin, where you're like, oh, those guys are bad guys. Like,
yeah,
these are just regular dudes who are in the army.
Yeah, and it was cool to see. I thought that was a really cool scene where they're all celebrating, and of course, like Mando and Mayfeld, they're just kind of walking through it like, yeah, guys, you know, woo.
That's why I know it comes later, but that's why I felt bad for the dude who's just carrying the shore trooper who was just carrying his lunch tray, and he's just like. Oh.
This whole episode, man, has a lot of really good, subtle, like, comedic stuff to it. And that was definitely one of them, too, with the tray. And we'll get to that. That part's coming. So they get through there. They get through the whole Stormtrooper celebration, and they get to the mess hall. And they have to go to the officers' mess hall because that's where the terminal is. So they get there, and Mayfeld starts to walk in, and he says that he can't go in because one of his former superiors is in there. So he's like, I can't do it. I can't go in. We got to abort. And Mando's like, no, we're not aborting. And he's like, well, it's going to scan your face. So, like, you can't go in there with the helmet. And he's like, just give me the thing, and goes in. He goes to the terminal. He pauses at the door, which why the hell did he pause at the door?
I don't know. That was the only thing in this, actually, the only thing in this episode I didn't like is, like, how do I look suspicious?
Dude, he's straight up.
I'm going to stop, look at the guy I'm not supposed to look at.
Right?
Great, and then I'm like, oh, come on.
And then
he's cooler than that.
And then he goes to the terminal, and it goes to scan his face, and of course he's got the helmet on, and it's like air, and it's freaking out. And then he looks right at the guy again.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah, dude, I was like, oh man, come on.
Yeah, that
dude.
was the only sequence in the entire episode I didn't like.
Yeah, very obvious there. So he does go to the terminal, obviously. It does freak out. So he takes off his helmet. He actually takes off his helmet. You finally see Pedro Pascal again. And then, it scans his face. It stops freaking out. And just as he's getting the coordinates of Moff Gideon's ship, which he does get, that same officer walks up and starts talking to him. So, and, he's freaking out. He's like, okay, what is your TK number? And Mando's just like, just froze, just totally frozen. And that's where Mayfeld walks up and he's Officer TK4579, we're transport, whatever. Sorry, I didn't write those down, but yeah, so he, but basically, obviously you can tell that he has like the Imperial experience and knows the jargon and the language. And so he's talking the officer down, and he's like, all right, man, time to go. We're going to take off now and do this. The thing that, when he says that, he's like, time to go. We got to fill out those TPS reports, which was a total Office Space thing. So I laughed my ass off when I heard that. And then the officer immediately says, you're not dismissed. And it's like, oh, shit. Turns him around. He's like, you guys were the guys on the tank this morning. And they were like, yeah. And he's like, well, let me buy you a drink. And then it was funny because early on in the interaction, Mayfeld referred to Mando as Brown Eyes. So he's like, we call him Brown Eyes. He's like, Brown Eyes. And then walks away, brings him to the table. They sit down to have a drink. And this is where it gets crazy intense. And so they're sitting down to have the drink. And that's the officers pouring out the drinks, and they start talking about all this stuff. And he's like, well, what should we toast to? And that's when Mayfeld says we should toast to Operation Cinder, which apparently was something called Burning Khan, which leveled a whole city. About 10,000 soldiers, he says, were killed. So obviously he was there. Obviously it's something that he was, very disturbed about, and you can tell already he's starting to flip. He's losing. Yeah,
I think it's from one of the I think it's from Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh, okay. That I didn't know.
The game.
All right. Okay, cool. That's awesome. See, I love it, man. I love how they tap into so many different things. So he's talking about that, and he obviously is losing it. And then the officer says, everybody says they want freedom, but what they really want is order. And then he goes to the Empire, and that's when Mayfeld is just like, boom, just capped him right there at the table. And that's your scene with the stormtrooper then standing there. And I love that part because he shoots the officer right in the middle of the officer's mess hall. Everybody freezes completely, and then there's this stormtrooper like, the fuck am I supposed to do?
I just wanted to eat.
Yeah, he just froze, man. It was hilarious. And then, of course, all hell breaks loose and they start firing. And then, so they head over to like that back window and they kick out that panel or whatever, and they get out there. And they jump outside. They're coming along the outside where like the dam is. And Fennec and Dune are sitting up there just sniping people, which is cool. And obviously they're great shots. So they're sniping people. They get up to the roof of the facility. And then, let's see. And then that's when Boba flies Slave One over to extract them. They jump on the ship. And then Mayfeld turns around. He's like, give me that rifle. And then he shoots the Rhydonium and blows the whole thing. As he blows the whole thing, though, the two TIE fighters come flying out. And this scene was awesome. Coming after Slave One, the two TIE fighters are coming out. And Boba drops that bomb. and the bomb just explodes. I don't know what the name of that bomb is because I know he's used it before. I think it was in the prequels.
The seismic charge?
Yes, that's it. It's the seismic charge, yeah. And he dropped that. Dude, that scene was amazing. I loved that. I was like, yes! Yeah, that was awesome. So he drops the seismic charge, blows up the 2 TIE fighters, and then, they land, and then basically that's where Dune's like, hey, I heard that Mayfeld died in an explosion, and he's like, you're letting me go? You're letting me go? And Mando's just like, get out of here, dude.
He's like, I'm gonna walk away now.
Yeah. So that was funny. So then he goes, and then the end. You get Gideon on the Star Destroyer, and the message comes in from Mando, and it's the hologram message, and it's the same exact speech that Gideon gave to them when he had him pinned down in the first season, word for word. And it was awesome. But I will say this, strategically, it was really stupid. Like, they lost the element of surprise. There's no element of surprise anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm coming for you, dude. But it was still one of the coolest things. Like, the scene itself was awesome, and Mando looked so fucking intimidating in that.
Moff Gideon looked scared.
Yeah, he did. And that's it. That's the episode. So, did I miss anything before we...
No.
Sweet. Okay, so... Initial thoughts.
Good notes.
Yeah. Yes, much better, right? So initial thoughts. What did you think?
I really liked the episode. I think it was much better than last week's. I think I didn't think they relied too heavily on the Boba Fett factor, which I was kind of worried that they were going to make him like the Super Trooper, where he was just going in and destroying everybody. I'm glad he hung back. He looked cool. He served his purpose perfectly. Mm-hmm. So having the Slave One there, he still got to be awesome with the seismic charge. I thought it was played perfectly because it's not everybody had a huge role.
Yeah.
Where it was just him and Bill Burr. I'm surprised. Bill Burr's actually a pretty decent actor. Like, he's got his snarkiness, but like he did all right.
I thought that scene in the mess hall really showed. Yeah. He all of a sudden jumped from like being the comedic relief to just showing off some real good acting chops. I thought that scene was amazing.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this week's episode, and I liked the fighting scene on the tank. I love that his armor, like he was using his gauntlets.
Yeah,
like he does it usually, and it works usually, and then he's like, "Oh shit, they're broken."
Yeah. I love again
like is when he went back into the cabin, like he was hurt, like he was like,
oh yeah, and dude, and again they're showing off how like brittle stormtrooper armor is and how it just falls apart. So yeah,
but I like because sometimes you can like they get that super like, I mean I don't know if you've ever gotten into a fight, but if you ever get into a fight, 30 seconds in, it's over, you're done.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or like just fighting with your brothers or anything. I'm not saying like a physical where you're. But I mean, I like that it shows that when he got back in the tank, he was like, because it's like, man, he just got wailed on by like spears and
by a ton of pirates, and he's like chucking dudes off the side. And they're getting run over and stuff, and I will say that the fight sequences in that scene were really good. And like I said, I think I was being a little more nitpicky about the whole spear thing. I don't know, I was like, man, like really, but yes, the fight sequences were really well done.
The spears wedged, they had to.
That's true. They were using them to open up the Rhydonian containers, so I guess that's true. Yeah, I should probably let that go. I gotta let it go. I think I'm being too nitpicky. I'm starting to be a real Star Wars fan now. This is
yeah, right. But otherwise, other than that, I mean, it was a great episode. I love that he, Baker pulled out. It was like an old rifle too. It wasn't like some like the girls had this 2 sniper rifles.
Yeah.
Like that looked like a musket from the Civil War.
Well, wasn't it the sand people gun that Boba had?
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure anyway. But yeah, that's what it looked like to me. But yeah, dude, and what a hell of a shot too.
Yeah,
they're going away, and he popped that shot off like as they're coming off, and even Cara Dune says she's like, that was a hell of a shot. He's like, you like that, huh?
It was just it was a really good episode. I think it was written well. I think it was directed well.
Yeah.
So I was very pleased with it.
So
even though it was short,
the way it ended, especially everything starting from when they get into the refinery on, was awesome. And it really, especially when I did have my reservations early on, and I think part of my thing too is I went into it pissed it was only 37 minutes long because I was expecting longer.
I stopped looking now.
Well, normally I don't care, but for the last 2 episodes, that's when I start caring. It's like, okay, no, I want.
Well, there was something I really liked in this episode that we've never seen before. We've never seen the inside of Boba's ship.
Yeah.
How it.
That was really cool. How that, I thought that was really cool. We've never seen that before. There was one other first for this episode. It was the first episode that did not have Baby Yoda in any capacity. He was not in the whole thing at all. So that was another first as well. So, and I thought that was interesting, and it makes me wonder if it's like, are they gonna let him go away, or are they gonna bring him back and keep him on? That's the big question.
TBD.
I still don't think that he's coming back, but
there's no way he's not.
There's no way he's not. But I will say they put on a hell of an episode for him not being there. I thought it was really good. So
yeah, I think it was actually a nice break where we didn't have to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. For me, again, the ending, the last 15 minutes really won me over, and the way they did that. Again, the intensity of the scene in the mess hall I thought was great. And then obviously all that action sequence after I thought was really great. I loved.
Yeah, even the tension of him deciding if he was going to take off his helmet.
Yeah. Yes.
As it was counting down.
Yeah.
I was like, man, because I was wondering, is he going to take it off, or is he just going to fight his way out of this and let Bill Burr come do it? But he didn't. And I like how Bill Burr was like, I never saw your face.
Yeah, that was cool too. Yeah, damn it. I knew I forgot something. Yeah, that was he definitely said that. So and that was cool. And then just like that, they kind of did the other favor. We're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he died on Morag, didn't he? Mm-hmm. He's gone. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cyclical. There are a lot of cool things that kind of they set seeds early in the episode with Bill Burr talking, and they paid him off later. And again, really good episode. Especially the way it closed out. And yeah, I think I need to not be so nitpicky about the early stuff. Maybe I'll watch it again and try not to be so nitpicky about that. Good.
Yeah, and you know what I liked about this episode? It was a good episode. It wasn't like, what is that going to be later? It was just like, they had a mission. They had to go get they had to find out where he was. They went in, they did it, and then they left. It wasn't like, we didn't get a bunch of questions out of it. We didn't get a bunch of answers out of it. It was a straightforward, good episode.
Yeah. Yep. And a good setup for the finale. I do, especially the way they tied it off at the end. Man, this finale, I A, have no idea what to expect, and B, I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready. I'm stoked. I'm pumped up. So
yeah, me too.
I can't wait to see it, man. So with all that being said, obviously you really liked it. So we've been scoring it every week. So what do you think? What's your score?
I'm going to give this week an 8.5. And it wasn't crazy exciting. I mean, where you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? But it was a solid episode, good writing, good action.
Yeah.
Good. I'm excited for the finale. So 8.5, especially coming off of last week where I thought it was one of the weaker episodes.
Yeah.
Or I thought it was the weakest episode.
I would have said 8. But I think I'm going to go up to 8.5 with you. You've talked me into the pirate scene a little bit. I think I was probably being a little too nitpicky about that.
Because honestly, with the pirate thing is, I thought of Somali pirates, they attack these oil tankers that have machine guns and rail guns. I mean, all this stuff, and they come up with these jalopy boats.
Yeah,
and they somehow take over these boats.
Well, it's a good strategy, right? I mean, all they got to do is blow it up. So they just got to get on, pop the thing in, and blow them up. So, I mean, definitely good strategy. I think I was being a little too nitpicky. Yeah, so I'm with you. 8.5 sounds good to me. I'll go with that. I liked it. So then, the big finale coming up. Bold prediction, man. What do you think?
All right, I'll go. Bold prediction is that they don't get Baby Yoda back.
Oh, okay. That is super bold prediction.
That's not what I expect to happen, but if I'm going to go bold prediction is that they get to him somehow, and then Moff Gideon escapes on like a TIE fighter as they blow up the ship or something crazy.
Okay. My bold prediction: Moff Gideon doesn't escape; he dies. He's dead.
Okay.
That's where I'm going. Bold prediction. I don't think Gideon's making it out of this season.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, then, how about this? What do you think is actually going to happen? What's your?
I think that they're going to get Baby Yoda back. They're going to blow up the ship. Moff Gideon dies, and they're on Slave One, and Grand Admiral Thrawn shoots in a hollow projector voicemail like, I want that baby.
Yeah. All right. All right. So obviously my bold prediction was I think Gideon's dead. He's done. What I think is going to happen is the team you saw now, I think is the team that's going in. I don't think we're going to see Ahsoka. I don't think we're going to see
Bo-Katan.
Yes, thank you. I don't think we're going to see her or her crew. We may see Carl Weathers' character one more time.
What's his name?
Shit.
By the end of these shows, I will teach you his name.
I don't know why I can't ever... You know why? Because he's not on enough.
It starts with a G, and then his last name starts with a K.
Dude, yeah, yep.
Grief Karga.
Grief Karga, yes. Grief Karga. Damn it. Fuck.
You'll remember one day.
Yeah, I will. He's got to be on more, right? No, Grief Karga, I think he may show up, but he might be the only one. I don't think they're going to have... I think it's this ragtag bunch, and I think they're going to go and come up with some crazy plan. I do expect it to be at least an hour long. God damn it, it better be.
It better be.
And I expect it to be amazing. I do expect the Beskar Spear is going to come into play, probably to combat the Darksaber. And I think
100%.
And I think you're going to get a real good Boba montage in there as well at some point where he'll... Now, question, does Boba make it out?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah? I was saying yeah, for sure, but the next thing we're going to get into has made me question that. When we get into all the new Star Wars projects coming up, it's now made me question whether Boba's going to get out of this or not. But yeah, I think you're right. Probably for sure he's going to get out. So with that being said, to kind of close this topic, your final thoughts on this episode, what did you think overall?
Fun episode. I liked it because it wasn't a quest episode.
Yeah.
It wasn't a like we got to get the baby somewhere episode. It was just I need this. Let's go get it. It didn't raise questions. There was nothing. It was very straightforward, fun, good writing, good episode.
Yeah, I agree. Not a quest episode. Although it was a setup episode, it's still really good. Again, Bill Burr, I thought really shined in this. I was thoroughly impressed. He redeemed himself well from the previous episode he was in, which I didn't like nearly as much. I thought they gave his character depth, range, and he really showed off his chops. So I would really thought that he made this episode. And you're right. The writing and was it Fumayara, right? Rick Fumayara was the writer and director. He did a great job. Great job on it. So overall, yeah, I thought it was a really great episode, and it got me excited. And again, the last scene where, and again, strategically very stupid. Hey, we're coming for you, but honestly, it was so badass that who cares? Like they made Mando look so menacing in that. But so I thought strong episode as well. So yeah. All right, so that'll wrap that part up. But I'm so glad you said that you wanted to talk about this because obviously, late this past week, Disney held the investors meeting and they announced all the Star Wars.
Yeah, they blew the doors off the place. Jeez.
Dude. Not even getting in all the other stuff because almost all the stuff they put out, like they said they were putting out, was awesome, including all the Marvel and effects and Hulu stuff and everything else. But we're gonna focus on the Star Wars stuff. So I'm gonna start reading off projects, and we
did finally get confirmation that they are doing Fantastic Four.
Yes, the Marvel. Yep.
I am excited about Fantastic Four. See if they can finally do it right.
Yeah, dude, in Feige I trust, man. In Feige I trust with Marvel, dude. He always figures it out. So, all right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna read off a project, and then I'm gonna let you comment on it and see what you think. So, let's start with. I'm gonna scroll down here. I don't want to start with the big ones first, so. I'm going to skip Willow because it's not Star Wars oriented. So that is a Lucasfilm project. But,
yeah, I'm not a big Willow guy.
Yeah, I'm going to skip Willow. So, all right. We'll start with the weakest stuff first. So, A Droid Story. It continues to develop the new story with there's going to be a brand new droid, but you're also going to see R2-D2 and 3PO. I think it's going to be geared more to kids. I'm pretty sure it's animated. Yep, it'll be animated. Yeah. So, real quick, your thoughts on the droid story?
I mean, I won't watch that.
Not even with your daughter? You don't think?
I mean, maybe, but she doesn't go too hard on that stuff either.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right, so the next one, Star Wars Visions. All new creative takes on the galaxy far, far away. Star Wars Visions will be a series of animated short films done in the style of Japanese anime.
I don't like anime.
I'm not a huge anime guy, but I gotta admit, I am curious.
I watched One Punch Man.
Oh, really? I've never seen it. I've heard of it though.
I mean, and that's as much as I can tolerate. Like I've tried with anime. It's just not for me. Like Dragon Ball Z, all my friends.
I do like Dragon Ball Z. I'm not gonna lie.
I just couldn't do it. So
yeah, okay.
That's gonna be a pass for me.
Fair enough. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm curious more than anything else. I want to see.
I'll check it out, especially if it's on Disney Plus. I'll see, but I'm not excited. My interest will not be piqued for that.
Okay, fair enough. All right, moving on. Star Wars: The Bad Batch. So this is a spin-off of the final season of Clone Wars, where they had those few episodes that surrounded that group of clones called the Bad Batch, and they're getting their whole own series. So Star Wars: The Bad Batch. What do you think?
I'll give that again. I'm not excited for it, but I'll definitely give it a try.
See, I thought that last season of Clone Wars, minus the last 4 episodes, which might have been the best that Clone Wars has ever offered. But minus that, I didn't really like that whole season. I'm going to give it a shot, but I wasn't that impressed with them the first time, so I'm not sure how I feel. But I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try. So
yeah.
All right. The next one, The Acolyte. Leslie Headland, Emmy Award winner, nominated creator of the series Russian Doll, is going to bring a new Star Wars series called The Acolyte. The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take the audience into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers.
See, I saw this one and I liked it. The synopsis of it.
Yeah.
I liked Russian Doll. That was the Netflix show with the girl from Orange is the New Black, right?
I have not seen that show, so I am unsure.
That was a good show. It was like a Groundhog's Day kind of show. It was good.
Okay.
If I'm thinking of the correct one.
Okay.
Which I think I am.
Well, so yeah, I don't know anything about Russian Doll,
but either way, it sounds good.
Yeah, I agree. I think it sounds really good. I love the thought. It's based on the final days of the High Republic as well. I forgot to mention that part. So
and this is live action, correct?
It looks like it does not say animated, so I'm gonna guess that it is. It looks like it's gonna be live action.
She did do the show on Netflix that I really did enjoy. So
yeah.
It was really good. So I have high hopes for that. I mean,
dude, anything that goes into dark side force powers and really delves into that, I'm in. Like, it kind of like the thought I got is maybe they'll do it in kind of that Darth Bane, like that whole trilogy, and like really get into a lot of the dark side force powers and all the Sith lore, because we haven't had that on the big screen as much.
We never get that, and so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be cool as well. Yeah, I agree. All right, moving on. Andor is going to be the spin-off series where Diego Luna reprises his role of rebel spy Cassian Andor from Rogue One, and he'll be joined by some new cast members, including Stellan Skarsgård, Adriana Arjona, Fiona Shaw, Dennis Goff, Kyle Soller, Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. So the spin-off Andor, again, spinning off Rogue One. What do you think?
It's always difficult for me. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But it's always difficult for me knowing the fate of a character.
Yeah.
In the sense of, where his it takes away the I'm trying to word this correctly. It takes away the suspense of things that are going to happen because he doesn't die.
Yeah, any risk he has, it doesn't matter because he's going to live through it here because we already know he dies later.
Right. So I'm going to give it a shot. It just that always takes away from me because that the risk isn't there for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, but again, I'll watch. I liked him as a character. He wasn't he wasn't crazy compelling to me.
Yeah.
As a protagonist, but I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I kind of how I feel too. I'm gonna check it out. I did like his character. I loved Rogue One. I thought it was a really good movie. And so I'm very interested to see how they expand on his character and how they, kind of where he came from and why he was the way he was in Rogue One. So I think they're gonna get into. It's gonna be a lot more of that spy thriller type aspect of Star Wars, which I think would be pretty cool. So I'm interested. I'm gonna check it out. But yeah, I'm kind of like you. Like, unfortunately, you're right. Like, with knowing where he's gonna go, the risk on him is very little. But we don't know about the rest of his crew.
Right.
So who knows? They may all die. Who knows? But yeah, I'm gonna check it out. So all right, let's move on to the next one. Lando. So yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward. Lando's getting his own show. That's all we know. And the other thing we know is Justin Simeon, the creator of Dear White People, is going to be developing the story. So that's it. We don't know if it's young Lando from Solo or if it's old Lando.
I don't have a ton of interest in Lando Calrissian. Listen, I think he was cool in the movies. But other than that, I just worry that they're starting to dig into these characters. Like, all right, it was Lando Calrissian. He was gambler. Mm-hmm. He was friends with Han Solo.
Yeah,
they were frenemies. Okay, but again, I'll watch it. I'll see what it's all about. I'm not going to not watch it, but I don't have much interest in that project.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm curious. First I want to know, is it old Lando or young Lando? Like, where is this going to be based? Because
is it Billy D. Williams or is it Childish Gambino?
Yeah, they have not said where, or both. Maybe like old Lando will be flashbacking to young Lando. Who knows? And then will they get Childish Gambino back if they go that route? Like, that's another thing. But yeah, I'm curious. Obviously, I'll give it a look. But I'm kind of like you. It's not something I needed in my life, but it's Star Wars, so I'm definitely.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah. All right. Next up, this is a spinoff directly from Mandalorian. It's called Rangers of the New Republic. So, set within the timeline of Mandalorian, this new live-action series from executive producers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni will intersect with future stories and culminate into a climactic story event. So what it looks like is we're going to get crossover shows with Mandalorian, starting with this one, Rangers of the New Republic. So who is that going to be? I think they're already starting to set up some of that. And you see it with Cara Dune, and I think you see it with the pilots, the X-Wing pilots. Mr. Kim being one of them. I think that's definitely one of them. So,
and again, I'll watch it. I don't know enough about it to be excited or unexcited.
Yeah.
But like you said, more Star Wars. I'll take it. And it's not like all these are going to be coming out at the same time. These are going to be years and years apart.
Yeah. And so I don't see the release dates on here, but there's going to be a point where like every month you're going to start getting alternating Marvel and Star Wars shows coming out. So I think it's like every month or every couple of months. So there's going to be a lot.
I think they're going to do it like HBO, like all the other guys do it. It's like, for 3 months we're going to have Mandalorian, and then for 3 months we're going to have the Raiders of the New Republic or whatever it's called, and then for 3 months you're going to have Obi-Wan. So and that's good because then you're always going to have something that you can watch.
Yeah.
But again, we'll see. I don't know enough about it yet, too.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Well, I do think it's going to be, I'm guessing Cara Dune's going to have a role in it, and I'm definitely guessing that Mr. Kim is going to have a role in it. And I think that's where, because remember we were talking about that episode where he hands her the badge, and I think that was a direct, tie-in to this show. I'm guessing, but it definitely feels that way.
No, that makes very good sense.
Yeah. All right, now we're starting to get into the heavy hitters. Ahsoka. Ahsoka, after making a long-awaited live-action debut, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka Tano's story, written by Dave Filoni, will continue in a limited series starring Rosario Dawson and produced by Filoni and Favreau. We knew this was coming.
I like limited series.
Yes. Yeah, I think this is where you're going to get Thrawn.
I get excited when I see shows that have limited series, because you know that I don't know. Did you watch Lost?
I did not.
I
know of Lost and I know how it ends, but
I'm trying to think of shows where you're like, they start out so great.
Well, some would argue Game of Thrones. I won't.
You don't know, but the problem with I disagree with Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones was off the books.
Yeah.
And if George R. R. Martin had finished the books, we would have had a perfect ending to the show.
Yeah.
The problem is when they went off the books, they were like, what do we
do?
Yeah. But Lost was super great in the first couple seasons, and then they were like, oh, we're really popular, we're going to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're like, it doesn't matter if it's popular, it doesn't matter if they're making all this money, it's over when it's over, because then it's like they have the story ready. Yeah. So I always like when I see limited series. And again, I like seeing Jedi on the screen, especially now, because they're not like these, we got a little bit in the original trilogy, a lot in the prequels, they were so corny. Ugh.
And very OP. Like super overpowered, I felt like in the prequels.
And then the last ones, we just got Rey and Kylo.
Yeah.
And so we've never actually had that much Jedi where you're like, it's a show centered around the Jedi. I mean, because the prequels were, Conan always does this funny bit about, not always, but he did this funny bit about how it was, they talk about how it was like, the movies were based on like talking about trade regulation, and like they're in the theater talking about deregulating the trade industry. He's like, it was like 20 minutes of the film, and I'm like, what? So again,
and that's true. Like the prequels especially were really like, and I get it, that's a big part of the story and very political. And George did the prequel trilogy is the only one where it was planned out from start to finish. Like the rest of them were all fly by the seat of their pants, including the originals. Like,
the originals, they didn't think they were going to make another one, so they didn't bother writing another one.
Yeah, so it was all fly by the seat of your pants, and obviously the most current sequel trilogy was fly by the seat of your pants. But that one, and the one thing I always give it, he had a plan from start to finish. He executed the plan, the story, the narrative, everything was written all the way through. But yeah, it did get very
bogged down.
If I want to watch Senate hearings, man, I'll turn on C-SPAN, because like that's exactly what you got for a big part of the movie, unfortunately. But then even in the end, like you got some really great moments, like the moment, where Padme was like, well, this is how, democracy ends, and thunderous applause, So, yeah. I mean...
No, it was good, but I'm just saying, we went off a tangent there, but never got like a real like Jedi. It was just Jedi.
Yeah.
Or centered around just the Jedi show. So I'm excited for that.
So I think, and I bet you know where I'm going to go with this. This is Dave Filoni's baby, his love interest. If he doesn't have an Ahsoka sex doll, I'll be shocked, because if but that being said, I will say this: I'm very interested in this show because Rosario Dawson killed it in that episode, and I think Filoni is exponentially gotten better as a director for live action. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see this. And for a lot of the reasons that you stated as well, to see an accomplished Jedi on screen in her prime, or maybe a little past her prime, but still, like, it basically in her prime, we're going to get some cool stuff. And I think, again, I'm guessing, of course, but I think this is where we're going to get Thrawn. I think we're going to get Admiral Thrawn in this, and I cannot wait to see him. And I know that Filoni and Favreau will do their due diligence and do it right with Thrawn, and I can't wait. So I'm excited for it. All right, let's see. Let's go to the next one here. Obi-Wan Kenobi. So the Obi-Wan series is finally going to happen after much speculation. And
Darth Vader's back.
Well, yep, that's it right there. You just said it. You just came out with it. So yes, officially Obi-Wan Kenobi returning, and officially you're getting what's his name?
Hayden Christensen.
Thank you. Getting Hayden Christensen returning as Darth Vader. I'm guessing we're going to get quite a few helmet off scenes, because I can't imagine you're going to bring in Hayden Christensen and not have like.
Yeah, but still, I don't know. I think it's going to be
or flashbacks maybe.
It's going to be. This is my thoughts, because obviously when Obi-Wan, they never see each other again.
That's what it says. That's what they've said the whole time, right?
So I'm guessing these are going to be two different stories of Darth Vader trying to find Obi-Wan to kill him. And maybe they run into each other one time or something. I don't know, but I think it's going to be two very separate stories. But I'm very excited to see, like I've said, the best 3 minutes in the entirety of Star Wars is Darth Vader lighting that red lightsaber up on the Tantive 4.
Yep.
At the end of Rogue One.
Everything we've all wanted to ever see right there.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that this is what that show is we get to finally see Darth Vader not as, Emperor Palpatine's bitch.
Yeah.
But as the truly terrifying, powerful figure in the galaxy that he was.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think they're going to go with that. I don't think they're going to meet. Or at least I hope they don't, because it would throw canon completely into disarray if you do.
Right.
So I really do think it'll be flashbacks, and or like you said, you're going to see Vader trying to find Obi-Wan, and he's just never going to find him. Hey, by the way, why wouldn't he think to go to Tatooine? Like,
well, I mean, obviously, but
I've always wondered that about Star Wars, but I don't know. It's just a random thought.
Okay. That would make too much sense.
Because, okay. So yeah, I'm very excited for that show. I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited they brought Hayden Christensen back. And hopefully Star Wars Nation will not be too evil to him, because they've not been very kind over the years. So, all right. Moving on from Obi-Wan. We're getting into the movies now. Farther away, we have the Untitled Taika Waititi film. We don't really know much more than that, other than Taika Waititi is writing and directing a Star Wars film. It's confirmed. So that's what we got. So I'm not going to... thoughts on Taika Waititi writing a Star Wars film?
I like it. Love it. Yeah. Love Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, dude, that movie's so great.
Loved What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
I love the television show What We Do in the Shadows, which is also... I think it's produced by him.
Uh-huh.
So
he actually has showed up on it a couple of times. Yeah. I gotta admit, I've never seen it because I've never seen the movie, and I can't find the movie on streaming anywhere. So, yeah.
I think it's on Vudu.
Is it on Vudu? Are you shitting me? Okay, I'll check. I'm gonna, dude. If it is, I'm probably gonna watch that today. Because I've been wanting, ever since I heard of Taika Waititi and started getting into him, I've been wanting to see that movie, but I don't want to watch the show until I see the movie. So
you can watch the show without seeing the movie, but the movie is great. The show is incredible.
Okay, all right, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, dude, like, and again, with what he did with Thor Ragnarok, and I'm sure he's gonna crush Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh
too.
yeah,
and, yeah,
obviously, huh?
Yeah, and Jojo Rabbit, like you said, is unbelievable. Such a great movie. So putting him behind a Star Wars movie, I think is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's on Vudu and Amazon Prime.
It's on Prime right now. Last time I checked, it wasn't on Prime.
Oh, you have to rent it.
Yeah, it was a rental. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
It's a good watch, but yeah, no, I'm excited for. I can't be excited because I don't know what it's about, but I like him a lot, so
yeah,
I will definitely look forward to that.
Yeah, I think he's gonna do a great job. So, and then obviously the big one, the next Star Wars movie coming out, Rogue Squadron, directed by Patty Jenkins. So
we'll see.
Okay. The biggest critique I'm hearing about this right now is it's going to be Top Gun in space.
I can't believe you said that, because I was like, I'm looking forward. If it's like Top Gun in space, I'll be into it.
Yeah, that's what I keep like, dude. It's just Top Gun in space, but that's the critique I keep hearing. A lot of people are going, I don't want to watch this. I'm getting a Top Gun movie already. Why would I want to watch Top Gun in space? And I'm sitting here going, why wouldn't you? Yeah, like, dude. I mean, a squad, and if it's based off of is it going to be based... Hold on, let me see if it says. The story will introduce a new generation of starfighter pilots as they earn their wings and risk their lives. Yeah, so it doesn't say if it's based on the game or...
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, but what she was talking about, Patty Jenkins said, as the daughter of a great fighter pilot myself, some of my best memories of my life are of seeing my father's squadron take off in their F4s early in the morning and hearing the feeling, the awe-inspiring power and grace. So she obviously has a background, a little bit anyway, around military bases and fighter pilots. So I'm very curious. She's a great director.
She did great with... I loved Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and we got, the next one coming in, just I think 11 days. Yeah. So
did she do this one too? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see how that one goes as well. But yeah, I think great director. Obviously, we'll see what kind of talent they put around her. It's a one-off. It looks like. It's not, obviously not part of a trilogy or anything like that.
That's good. So, I think they should just hold off on the trilogy for a while.
Yeah, I think they should too. I think they should wait on that until they have a good plan and something really, thought out and a good direction where they want to go. So I think the one-off with her and the one-off with Taika, I think that's the way to go. And then to kind of like all encompass this, I like where Favreau and Filoni are going with their spin-off shows with Ahsoka and the Rangers thing, I think. And what I think they're going to do is you're going to see a lot of crossover with The Mandalorian. And you could see something kind of like what the CW does with like a big crossover show or whatever.
I mean, it with the MCU, it clearly works.
Yeah.
If you take the time to set it up right.
And you have to have guys like Favreau who will be kind of the overseer of all of it.
And I always love it because there's such a good example of it works with the MCU, and then with the DCU, you're like, this clearly doesn't work. You can't watch this stuff. Cannot be. I mean, MCU. It was almost. What was it, like 18 years? 14 years?
Well, it was 2008 was the first, so 12 years it's been.
Yes. Oh, okay. So 12. I mean, that's a long time, especially in like
25 films. So and I think Endgame was number 24. So the 24th film.
And I'm not saying they have to do 12 years because this stuff is already, a lot of this is established. But if you want to do it right, you got to put, it can't be 2-3 years. It's got to be like 6-7 years, and they've shown that they can do it.
Yeah. Well, I think, what it boils down to is Favreau, I think, has a plan, and I think he's going to move forward with it. And the cool thing is, a lot of people criticize Kathleen Kennedy, myself included, but the one thing she's gotten right is The Mandalorian, and she put Favreau in charge. She paired him up with Filoni and said, do what you guys want. Just, take it, and they have. They've run with it.
Smart enough to say, hey, I'll be the president, but you guys, hey, run it.
Yeah. Well, I hope she either leaves and I hope Favreau takes over, or she does exactly that and lets him kind of take over the whole thing. That would ideally be best for me. I think Favreau is the perfect guy to take over.
Yeah, I think so too.
But she's still there. You should have saw her in her presentation. She was in all her glory. So, anyway, I am very excited, definitely, for those interlinking shows. I think the movies could be good, although they're pretty much standalone one-shots. I'm very excited for the Acolyte show, though. The dark side force powers. I think
it sounds cool.
Yeah. So that's it, man. I don't have any tip or comments as far as I can tell. Let me check Facebook really quick. I know you had a couple of comments on your thing.
Last week.
Yeah, so I'm gonna check that now to see if you got some on there, because I don't want to leave.
I forgot to share it.
Oh, you didn't? Oh no. Yeah, I don't see any Facebook comments here. So Yep. All right. So that's gonna do it then. If you didn't share it, then we're not gonna have any.
I shared it now. So
well, cool. People can comment later then.
Post show, yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you want to comment, of course, you guys can comment on the chat links of whatever video that you're watching, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, and then you can always 24/7. Oh, speaking of, there it is. Jake shared the stream. So. Anyway, you can also 24/7, you can obviously comment on the tip link, streamlabs.com/movie-idiot. And again, when you use the tip link, you support the show, which then allows me to pay people like Jake. So, because so far right now, he's been donating his time out of the kindness of his heart and his love for Star Wars. And I appreciate that. So, all right, man, with that, I think we're going to wrap it up. And, thanks, man. And I can't wait for the finale next week, dude.
I can't wait. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, guys. So, yeah, we're going to close it out there. Again, thank you guys for checking out Mandalorian Episode 15, open spoiler discussion. Again, we're going to do it next week. I think we're going to probably stick with the Sunday morning groove. So, probably Sunday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time is what we're looking at for next week's finale, open spoiler discussion. I hope you guys can jump on and join in live, comment live. We want to interact with you guys on this. We're going to be talking the whole damn thing from start to finish, not only the episode, but just, kind of a wrap up of the whole season in general. So it's going to be a big show. We're going to do it big. Hopefully you guys can make it. We'll put out an event or whatever, a little bit before so that you guys can, get primed up and ready to roll for it. So, again, please make sure that you guys, of course, subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, and comment. Even if you're watching after the live show, comment. All the comments help. Thumbs up, please, on the videos as well. All that stuff helps. Again, get the channel out there, get awareness out there, because we're trying to build this up. And again, I want to be able to pay my guests like Jake, who've been awesome and donating their time coming on talking about this. So really appreciate you guys watching. Hope you all have a great week. We're going to see you next week right here on the Movie Idiot channel for the finale for The Mandalorian. Hope you guys all have a great week. Have a good one. Peace.